Arg, mateys! Welcome to Fantasy Smack Talk. Dustin and Namco here. If you couldn't tell, happy Halloween. This is our Halloween episode. We're heading into week 8. Before we get into a little bit of tips and advice, something that's grinding this guy's gears. Congratulations to Nate from Alabama, weekly pick'em winner. We'll be in touch. Get you your shirt in the mail shortly. But get that stuff off of that giant chest of yours.
Alright, first, my voice, it's gone. Yelling at the TV and DeMarco Murray and how amazing he did. We love that guy. No one else did. We believed. Either way, here's what's grinding my gears this week, though. All of these questions about people saying, hey, I got somebody like Tim Tebow. Should I start Demaryius Thomas over a guy like Andre Johnson because I want to double dip in the points? No, that is insane. Do not ask those questions. You look at your each individual position. Put your best team on the field. No reason to try to double dip and get points like that. It's crazy. You just don't do that.
Another thing, too, along those same lines, I've had a lot of people ask, I have this wide receiver or this running back going up against my defense this week. Should I swap that out so that doesn't happen? Yes, if your wide receiver running back gets to the end zone, it's going to hurt your defense. But your defense can score in any number of ways. All it takes is one pick six, and they're going to be fine for that week.
Sacks,
they
turnovers.
Can get sacks, turnovers. So you don't necessarily want to put in a guy that you're less confident in just because you don't want one of your guys working against your other one. Like Brent said, you look at your defense. If that's your best defense for the week, depending on what's on the wire, you start that defense. You look at your wide receiver running back. If that's your best wide receiver running back that week, you start him. No questions asked.
Give him an R.
Arr! Let's get into them form questions. First one comes from McGinney. Which quarterback? We got Rivers at Kansas City, Romo at Philadelphia. 78% of people on the homepage right now are saying Rivers. They're not losing faith.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not losing faith either. And yes, that Philadelphia secondary does scare me a little bit. But regardless, Phillip Rivers, he's got to be better than how he's been playing. He's been killing me in a couple leagues. I think this is the week he finally puts it all together. He's been actually playing not terrible. He's averaging over 280 a game. He just hasn't gotten that many touchdowns. With Gates back, Vincent Jackson fully healthy, and Ryan Matthews looking to be pretty healthy as well. I really like his chances. Side note for you gamblers, I love the line right here. San Diego -3.5. Oh, hammering that line. All right, Dustin. Legolas wants to know which running back he should be starting, and that's Battle versus San Diego or Daniel Thomas at the Giants, and 73% of the community is going with Battle, even though he split the carries quite a bit last week.
He did split the carries, but so did Daniel Thomas. I mean, he's splitting with Reggie Bush, and Battle didn't necessarily split that much when the game was still close. Once it got in the fourth quarter, yes, then Thomas Jones came in, took a lot of carries, but Battle has looked good. He's by far been getting the most carries. And San Diego, while it's a decent defense, they do give up a lot of yards on the ground. I like Battle this week. I'm going with the community. All right, we got a tough tight end question from Ben Roque. We got Fred Davis at Buffalo or Aaron Hernandez at Pittsburgh. 55% on the homepage are saying Davis right now.
Yeah, this one is pretty tough. I'm actually going to hedge my bet a little bit, Dustin. I'm going to like this. Aaron Hernandez definitely in a PPR league. In my mind, he's the wide receiver number 2 out there behind Wes Welker. In a standard, I'm going to go Fred Davis. But side note on Davis, I think Santana Moss getting hurt actually hurts him a little bit. Because if I was a defensive coordinator, I would say let Anthony Armstrong or Gaffney or any of those other guys beat me, not Fred Davis, and I would actually double team him. So this week, PPR, Hernandez, standard, Davis.
Fred Davis for me in any league.
We got a little side bet going.
I like a little bit more. It's close, though. Let's get into them studs, duds, and sleepers. My stud, I'm going with Phillip Rivers. Like we were saying earlier, he's been having the yards, just not necessarily finding the end zone. He's got a good matchup this week. I think that game could turn out to be a high-scoring affair. I'm liking Phillip Rivers. My dud, Bernard Scott, going up against Seattle. I've always been a Scott fan. I wanted to see him get more of a workload, but it's not necessarily that good of a matchup. And I still think Leonard's going to sneak in and take some touches from him and probably any goal lines that are there. There's been reports saying that it's still going to be run-heavy offense, but I still think Leonard's just going to be there too much for Scott to be. I'm not saying don't start him, but I wouldn't start him over anyone good. And my sleeper, Roy Halou against Buffalo. This is a little scary. We don't know what Shanahan's going to do, but all I'm saying is if you're in a bind, it's not a bad gamble. Buffalo gives up a lot of yards. Halou could get things going.
All right, my stud, reason I got my voice all gone. DeMarco Murray obviously had a huge game last week. I don't expect that to happen this week. Felix Jones is still out. He's going to get all the touches again. I'm looking at about, and this is actually going to be a kind of exact call, 89 rushing yards, 3 catches for 17, and he finds the end zone.
Okay.
That's what Superman says. I love me some DeMarco Murray, though. Also, going forward, a lot of other sites out there are saying it's going to be, at best a 60-40 split in favor of Jones when he comes back. Ain't going to be the case. Did you see this guy run? My dud, Tim Tebow. My God, did he...
Arrgh. Should make you walk the plank for that one.
He looked terrible. He looked so bad for 57 minutes.
They won the game, though.
They did win the game, but he just... the way he was turning, facing his back to the it was ugly. His passes all aired. I just don't see him doing that great. And against the Lions defense that's quick up front, I think they're going to put a hurting on Timmy. Sorry, buddy.
We'll see.
It does take just one play for him. All that I'm saying is, though, don't start him over guys like Phillip Rivers, If you got, like, Christian Ponder him, obviously go Tebow. We're talking about the stud guys, because we're getting some questions about that. And then my sleeper, I know I'm running long, Antonio Brown with the Steelers against the terrible secondary of New England. He got 9 targets last week. He's getting a bunch. I expect him to have a good game because New England doesn't allow the long passes. That's Mike Wallace territory. Brown over the middle, that's what they allow.
All right, let's get into Mike's picks. His stud, Ray Rice, kind of a tough game Monday night. Put the ball on the ground, which he doesn't normally do. But he should have a nice bounce-back game against Arizona. They give up a lot of yards all over the place. His dud, Peyton Hillis, going up against the tough Niners run D. And they're second in the league. As Brent was telling me before the shoot, they haven't given up a rushing touchdown yet, which is kind of surprising.
It's pretty good.
And he's still going to be splitting with Hardesty. So Hillis, a little scary this week. And his sleeper is Pierre Thomas going up against St. Louis. We all saw what Murray did last week. Mark Ingram's probably not going to play. Maybe if he does, he's going to be a little limited probably. So Thomas, he gets a few more touches against that weak Rams run D. He could have a big game. So that's it for our Halloween show. Get into those forums. I'm Dustin. This is Superman.
Clark Kent.
Walkie plank, matey.